Well, hey, we've had a lot of people contact us and say, how do you propagate these different large leaf, split leaf philodendrons or the monsteras, whatever you want to call them? And we've got a couple of different kinds here today, the Monstera deliciosa, and then here's the Swiss cheese right here. But so they're pretty much the same. So I'm just going to show you how to do both of those. It's not real tough. I think one of the things you got to understand about foliage plants in general is that really propagating them is not tough. It's just figuring out how to do that. So I think you're probably saving a lot of time and a lot of effort just to simply watch this particular YouTube video. But on this one here, just real quick, we're gonna go ahead and just trim this loose, cut it loose. And so what I find many times, especially with these monsteras, is that they just get so big so quick, and particularly if you don't have any way to shorten the stems up. So the easiest thing in your home is to just do some trimming, and sometimes trimming on these plants just makes them better. And there's a lot of different ways to propagate monsteras, particularly these stemmy type philodendrons. But the way I'm going to show you today is the way we do it here in the greenhouse. And sometimes we're doing, thousands of these things at a time, but I want you to notice it right here is this big, huge adventitious root. So obviously rooting a philodendron is not going to be that tough, but the adventitious root is a response to just highly humid air around the plant. But we're going to trim that off, get it out of the way. And then real simple, what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of rootone on it just to encourage it. And I've just put a little bit of this rootone that's in the box right here. This particular stuff we make available right there at the plant farm. We're just going to put a little bit on the stem. And then I'm just going to insert this stem well down inside this really mossy type soil. So that all I've got is a leaf that's sticking up right here, just like that. So real simple, we're just gonna take these particular Monstera cuttings, just get a little bit of rootone on them, make a nice deep hole in our pot because it's such a large plant, and make sure we insert it to where this root, this adventitious root, or where the node is down underneath the level of the soil. Now, with monsteras, there's a lot of different ways you can propagate them. I mean, you can ultimately propagate them from seed, and we do that. We do thousands of them here at the greenhouse every year from seed. But and another way you can propagate is through air layer. But the easiest thing, particularly when I don't feel like I've got a lot of time and I'm just trying to get things done in a hurry, is I just take these stem sections and just stick them right back in the pot. In the case of these fours, we're just gonna put one cutting per pot. That's all we really need. That particularly adventitious root on that, you see, it's just quite large. So we're just going to trim that back because there's too much of it. And then I'll just insert it deeply down in the hole here, and it'll make that work. Now that's how you could do these monsteras. Like I said, they're not that tough. Now it's a little bit different with this tip cutting. You can see here that these are stem sections. And what'll happen with the stem section, we call it a leaf and eye too, and what'll happen with the stem sections is they'll just go ahead and root. They'll begin to grow, and then ultimately you'll see a new shoot, a new terminal bud just come out right there at the side where the eye is, and that'll be the new plant that forms. So the tip cutting is just a little bit different because it's not a leaf and eye. It's going to grow right here from the very tip of the plant. So we'll put a little bit of root hormone on it, and then just again we'll just get a hole, make a deep hole in our pot, and insert that tip sticking straight up, so that what we have is a plant that's going to root, and then what you'll see is that the actual tip will continue to just develop and grow there. Now that's how you do the Monstera deliciosas. But these Swiss cheese are not that really all that different. And I think I'm just going to leave that plant just like it is because it doesn't look that bad. And sometimes with these stemmy type trailing philodendrons, what happens is you just get a plant that starts running and it gets really long, and it's not that attractive. And sometimes it's just real helpful just to come back in and trim these long stems anyway. And I'm going to do that right now. There's that leaf there. It's a little bit tired looking, so I'm going to take that off and leave that plant as it is, because I think it really, when it grows out, it's gonna look quite nice. I've left one stem here already, just right there as it is. But this one here gives us all we really need for cuttings. And again, if you look, you see we got our adventitious roots coming on the leaf and eye node right there. And here's the tip cutting. So we're going to get basically 3 cuttings out of this. I want you to notice something, that I'm going to actually trim longer on the below the node. All right. So there's the first cut. And same thing here. I'm going to be longer below the node. A couple of reasons for that. One, if I had a hard time understanding which way this thing went, if I cut that way, then I always know that the longer side is the side that goes down. But the thing that makes the most sense right here is that because we're going to be putting these in soil, we want to have something that's going to hold it in the soil. So they sometimes can spring up. And in this case right here, we're going to just go ahead and put these 3 cuttings right here in this same pot. Now you notice the soil that I'm using right now is very coarse. It's very coarse. There's a lot of big fibrous peat in it. And I like that soil. We're going to see how well it develops, but we pretty well know it's going to be a well aerated soil. So a little bit more root tone on there. We'll stick these 3 cuttings in the same pot. We've got 2 leaf and eyes and a terminal bud cutting, or a tip cutting. And that's going to be a pot that looks very similar to this one right here when it roots and begins to grow.